welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm Dio. Let's talk. A warm welcome to a multi-talented Zen Tenn. Welcome to the show, bro. How you doing?
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
It's an honor having you, man. I've been checking out some of your stuff. You're very, very busy. You have a lot of things going on, from music to podcasting. You have your YouTube, a bunch of subscribers, a huge following. Like, where do you have the time to do all this stuff?
2020.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. I feel you.
Well, the time. So number one reason why I started doing everything that I feel like I can under the sun is because of my guru. His name is Dr. Wayne Dyer. He passed, I think, 2017. One of his famous quotes that I love about him, he says, "Do not die with your music still inside of you." Because a lot of people, there's also another book by a nurse. She interviewed a lot of people who were dying. I forget the name of the book, but it says the number one thing people regret before they die is not living up to their dreams.
Wow.
And so I'm like, when 2020 happened, I had reflection and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do anything that I want to do. Fuck it. So
boom. That's a dream, right? That's a dream. So in 2020, you started your what was the first step you took? Was it the podcast? Was it your music?
What was it? 2020, the first thing that happened is I had my heart chewed out, broken, and spit out.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. We all been there.
Yeah. But as you know, in history, the most amazing work and the most famous artists comes from broken hearts and hardships in their lives.
Very true.
And that's when you hit rock bottom, that's when you have time to reflect and be like, who am I? What's going on? And all this stuff. So I am very grateful for that actually happened. Of course, when it was happening, I'm not someone who usually say, poor me, why me? Yes. But when it was happening, of course, you don't want it to happen. You don't want growing pains. But then fast forward, let's say, because I started my podcast actually in October 2021, but I started singing in February 2021. So around like Valentine's Day, of course, that's when I was like feeling really pain. And that's when I started singing. And then I started the podcast in October to talk about my pain and inviting others to talk about their pain.
That's beautiful. So it's like you obviously you gave yourself, but you also gave the opportunity to others to talk about their therapy and their pain. So because I watched a couple of them, not fully, but just to understand what you're doing it. And there's some deep subjects you touched there that you know, it's healthy to talk about things like that, which is called, your podcast is called Zen Tenn Speaks, right? A lot of inspiration, important stories from like I saw one that was like a recurring alcoholic, right?
Right. And there's a lot of those because the meat of my podcast is getting rid of shame, guilt, fear, and judgment for ourselves. Hence, we do it for others, because who you are is what you do for others as well. And so because of that heartbreak, there are a lot of shame, guilt, and fear and judgments, of course. And I went through depression, and my depression actually, it's a long story. It's also on my podcast, but that person was leaving with me, so it makes it hard. And until that person left, that's when I was doing the real closure of healing, although we were broken up and we're still in the same place. And so with depression, and I had like the shame, guilt, the fear, and the judgments. And then I wanted to have a podcast to talk about my growing pain and experience. And then when people started watching my solo, because it's two parts, it's solo and guest. And so when I'm talking about my solo on Mondays and the guest on Wednesday, and then people said, oh, I have a similar story. Oh my God, like I can resonate with you. And I was like, you know what? I would love to hear what you have to say. And then because I do not attach, I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to anything, but I'm not attached to the outcome. I enjoy the process, the present tense. So therefore the podcast morphed into talking with other people. And I feel like having guests was more important than me talking, because who wants to hear me talking all day? And so having other people talking, they also were my teachers in a sense, because I was listening to their talk. Usually the podcast like 75 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, but I broken them up between part one and part two. And a lot of people that went through rock bottoms, they're the best people to hear their stories from, because they've gone to hell. And me, I just gone through heartbreak. They've gone through death, heartbreak, drug addiction, losing their life, getting disease. And so I'm very grateful for all these people that been a guest on my show. And right now we're on season 3, actually.
How does it work? Do people hit you up and they say, hey, we want to talk about this topic you finished talking about, or do you seek people? What's your strategy when finding these individuals that have incredible stories?
So in the beginning, because I was just posting on my wall about myself, when just like random people were saying, like on my friends list, saying like, I resonate with you. And then that's when I had an idea that clicked. I was like, oh, I need to make an ad. So I made ads. I said, hey, do you have a story to tell? And I've noticed, so I joined a lot of groups. So I've of course joined the podcast group. I joined a lot of ex-religious groups. And so I kind of was being strategic and thinking like, okay, so if people want to tell a story, most people want to tell their story if they have an angst about something or something really bad happening in their lives, or they want to like stick it to somebody because they want to, tell a story. And so I joined a lot of ex-religious groups. And also I didn't plan to join an AA group. I forgot what they call, like ex-alcoholic or ex-drugs group. Group. But I think someone maybe was talking about it when they messaged me. And then I just got another idea and I was like, oh, maybe I should join those groups. And then when I did, people were flooding my DM like crazy, because I have a theory that those people were more likely wanting to talk to me because part of their 12th step is to tell their story to the world as part of their recovery. So that's a theory that I have. That's why I have more guests on there that would tell their story. And so on the ex-religious groups, there were a lot of guests who are entrepreneurs who have done great things in their lives, and they want to stick it to religion. So therefore, they were also more likely to talk to me about what they've gone through. Wow. So I'm in the process of wanting to talk to regular people, like everyday people. And it's really hard to get those because not everyone, like if someone didn't have an eventful life, they probably don't want to tell their story. But if someone went through some really deep shit, like most of my guest podcast has been, it's either you've gone through deep shit or you've done something great for your life and then you want to talk about it. So I want to get a middle kind of a thing. But I do a lot of promoting.
Yes.
Yeah. I do so much promotion. I call it spamming, and Facebook sometimes put me in jail.
Hey, it happened to me through YouTube. Been there. So what about, have you spoken to somebody that has something to say? Right, because in 2022 now, everybody has something to say about something. Not necessarily has a background story, but just have something to say about, I don't know, like electric cars or something. Have you spoken to those?
Not yet. I was thinking, because it's getting warmer, I was thinking taking the 3rd season onto the streets and having a sign that says, hey, tell me your story. And I've studied psychology, and one thing I don't like to do in any situation is if I ask a question, I like to ask a broad, and I don't like to, there's a term to use. I forget what the word I want to use, but I don't want to promote someone to put words in their mouth, basically.
Got it.
I want to ask a broad question, and then they can tell me whatever they want to tell. So if I pigeonhole it into a topic, then they might focus on that topic. So yeah, so I haven't, to answer a question, I haven't yet, but that's a goal because I'm getting the both extremes, and I want something right in the middle, and I want to have regular people with regular stories. And I'm so surprised that I'm on season 3, because I was just gonna do my own podcast in season 1 and tell about my heartbreak and what I've learned and sing about it and be done. But you never know what anything
it changed
for you. So I'm enjoying the process.
Yes, it changed drastically. Why did you make it into seasons instead of just, keep going?
Well, because so by the way, I love reading, I love audiobooks, I love listening to podcasts and all the time. And so I've noticed how different people do their different things. Mm-hmm. And my business, I'm a professional organizer. So I feel like when you organize something into sections or numbers or categories, it will be easier for people to find certain things. So eventually, after season 3 is over, what I'm planning to do is to categorize inspirational speakers, like on Facebook, on YouTube, there's like have a playlist of inspirational speakers or people who went rock bottom or regular stories. And so I did the season because I feel like if it's just a continuous thing, then it could feel flatlined maybe. So, but watching enough people doing it also, when there's like a TV show, they have seasons and episodes. So I kind of like learn from different things like that.
Got it. So your journey started with a heartbreak and it developed into something so incredible that everybody feels like, I can imagine just hear your story and they feel safe, somebody trustworthy, and they can talk to, right? That's what just in a little bit I've heard. That's what I gathered.
Right. And you're correct. I actually made a solo podcast about that. All my life, people on the train will come and talk to me, and then they'll tell me, you got sent, and I feel relieved that you are there and I'm able to talk to you, because people will tell me the craziest shit to a stranger. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, wow, I can't believe you on the train for like 30, 45 minutes and listening to my shit and apologizing. And I'm like, no, don't apologize. Like I'm someone who lives in a moment, and I appreciate anything that happens because you never know what will grow from that. And so, but one thing I did not like about these interactions though, because I didn't know what it was and how to deal with it, people would dump their baggage, and they were dumping their baggage, but then I made the mistake of taking the baggage. Mm. And so I had all this shit with me when I go home or when I'm walking. And then someone called me. I'm not so much into titles or titles, but someone called me. They said I was what's that word? Empath. And then when I Googled it, and I was just like, okay, that was what I was going through, and that made sense. So I had to learn to, if someone give you their baggage, you don't have to receive it, because their point is to log it off, and then we both done. Just like if you go through a physical or therapy, you tell your baggage, and the therapist is not taking your baggage because there's too much baggage to take, and it's not good. So I realized that I was taking the baggages because I was codependent. I wanted to save the world. And also growing up in a religious household, when Jesus was saying, dump your load on me and I'll carry it for you and all this stuff. So I used to be very religious. And then I took that because I wanted to emulate Jesus. So that's why I was taking people's baggages. And I was like, no, I don't need to do that. And so I've learned to not take his baggages. So now, because of that, I've embraced my gift to welcome people talking to me. And because they often tell me they're so grateful they talk to me, because when they talk to me, I don't judge, I don't give advice, I'm just listening to them. And unless they ask for advice, like, what should I do? What do you think I could do? What do you think? That I would tell them, of course. But then even if I give a feedback, I don't give a feedback of like attachment of like forcing someone to do anything. So as of 2020, I've embraced my so-called gift that people would say, because I was just like, I don't want to live in fear anymore of like anything that's there. So I just need to accept it. So which I've done.
Wow, that's amazing. We have to be, because we also, like, as people, we tend to live through energy, right? So if somebody gives you negative energy without knowing, you're releasing that negative energy to somebody else. And we gotta be like trees sometimes, right? We take that negative energy and find a way to put it out, give it back to the world in a better way, right? Like oxygen and trees and whatnot.
Right.
And that's
That's a
something.
great analogy.
Yeah, and that's something that's we can only learn through time, right? As we grow as people, as a person, as individuals, right? Because it's not easy. A lot of people will sit there and throw you baggage, and you find yourself as if you were drowning. And that's not fair, because all you wanted to do was be a supporting person.
Right.
And
right.
What you're doing is amazing. It's amazing, because people sometimes all they need is for someone to listen. Right? That's all. They don't need you to take it. All they need you is to listen, so they can hear themselves say it.
Right.
Right? Sometimes we as people go through things, and we need to accept certain things, but until we say it and we hear ourselves saying it, we can't put two and two together sometimes.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's so true. I've even done that when I myself is talking about with a friend, would I have a question, and I would actually ask a question, and as we're talking, I'm talking and I'm answering my own question. Because that's why therapy is great, because you need a stranger to talk to. And sometimes, like, it depends on the friendship. I have great friends that I talk to without any judgment feedbacks, but that's why I promote talking to strangers, because even if they judge you, who cares? And there's not that attachment of like friendship or family. And also, I'm someone who I learn from movies. I learn from anything. I don't remember if it was a movie or a TV show. There was this homeless person running. He was like drunk and whatever. Of course, he looked creepy, but he was running after this lady who was busy on her phone. And because she's like running away from homeless, like she's in New York City, and she's not seeing him. She's just thinking he needs something from her. And then she got hit by a car. And then, hold and behold, he was warning her there was an accident and the car was gonna swerve to hit her. So only if she stopped to see the homeless person as a human being and be like, hey, okay, so what's up? Then the car would miss her. So when I saw that, I was like, damn. And then from that day forward, even if I assume a homeless person or anything gonna ask me for money or is gonna annoy me, I at least give them an ear, and I look at them in the eyes and see them as another human being.
Yeah, it's a sign
because
of respect.
A lot of times, it's
a sign of respect. Like, we as human beings, we are horrible. We'll judge you, we'll judge you without even knowing you or your capabilities. I think Martin Luther King said it, we cannot judge for the color of our skins, but judge by the content of our characters. So, if you're being judged, it's because you're a dick, not because you're red, white, or blue, and yeah, we have to do better.
Right. And I do my best to do that every day. Just for me, and the funny thing is, I'm not doing better for people actually. And is it by default that people get to benefit from it? Because like psychologically, think about it. If you're doing something for people, you actually not working on yourself. You actually put on a mask and pleasing others.
Yeah,
but
and it
if you
drives you
actually
crazy.
work on yourself spiritually and you're physically, then people will benefit from the good, because if you are a clean person, someone will enjoy another clean person around. So when I realized that, I was just like, oh, because I was codependent doing things for people, but then nothing ever worked out well because I was putting on a mask. I wasn't working on myself. I was just working to please others. So once you do everything for yourself, then everything will be great.
When did you realize that? At what moment did you choose you? Because when you're living a codependent lives, you're not choosing you, you're choosing others.
Right. So in 2015, it's like a tough timeline, but okay. So I used to be in a 18 to 16 year relationship. And so like I was a great person and a great friend, but I wasn't a great lover, because I kind of like grew up together and we were young lovers. And after 10 years, like we changed like 3 times, or at least 4 times, because people change throughout the years.
Yes.
And I know I wasn't a great lover. But then one time I went to the bookstore and I saw a book it wasn't a book, it's a calendar called Dharma Days. And every day and every month, it gives you something to work on, like as a person. And I love that calendar so much. And unfortunately, it was only that 1 year. And that year, I think, was 2009. And then, which also helped me to be a better boyfriend. But at the same time, it helped me to break out of that relationship. But I didn't break out of that relationship. I broke out of that relationship in 2020, like 100%. But in 2009, what was it? 2009. How do you say it? 2009? 2009. Sorry.
2009?
No, 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I broke up around like 2009, 2010, it helped me break up because I started learning who I was. Because I was not an individual. I was a couple. And I don't know if you can, I don't know if you've been with somebody, if you can like see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you
like,
didn't know how to be alone. All you knew was be to somebody else, be with somebody else, partake with somebody else. And in order for you to grow, sometimes you need to be by yourself. You need to test yourself. You need to learn what are you capable of,
Right.
So
and I'm
get
grateful that happened. Like I broke up and it was bad, but then it was good. Then fast forward 5 years, 2015, because I was starting working on myself and my spirituality. I woke up one day and I was Zen. And it was like not, I want to say weird, but not like a weird, just like something I wasn't used to. And then since then, let's say in a example of religious way, it was baptism basically. I went under and I rose and I became Zen in that sense. And then from then on, I started the work that I do, my self work. But then not until 2020, I've been 100%, because somehow, as you mentioned, energy. I do believe in energy. I feel like there's 3 types of people, but we've probably seen those most 2 of them. One of them, 2020 happened for them and it was terrible. And the other ones, 2020 was terrible, but it was the best year of their life for growth. So I was the latter. Like I even actually, a podcast that came out on Monday talks about, if 2020 was good for you, be grateful about it. Stop bitching, kind of a thing. And so, but it's not to say if 2020 was bad for you, because we all experience things differently. If you had COVID a couple of times, if you had death, if you became homeless or lost money or homes, like I'm not talking about you, of course, because that would be insensitive, and I cannot resonate with that. What I'm talking about is those people who are stay healthy. They had a roof over their head. They still had either a job or unemployment, $600 a week, and things like that. Yet they were still complaining how I'm staying home, da da da. So basically, I was saying you are complaining prior to COVID that you needed a vacation. Now you got it with money on top of it. You still bitching. So it's not the outside. It's not your surrounding that was the issue. It was what was in here that was the issue. So that's what I talked about actually on Monday. But I'm grateful for 2020 100%.
Yeah. 2020 really put things in perspective for a lot of us, and people and businesses and life choices we have made. Right? It really, listen, it either made you or break you.
Yeah,
it made you or break you. If you were one of those people that through the pandemic just sat and did nothing, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, such a waste of time, like they say.
Yeah, I feel 100% bad for you because you did not see the message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, like I said, it'll make you or break you. I love it because you live in this like positive philosophy, right? I'm not sure it has to do with your guru, right?
What's that question?
That I was saying that like you live this amazing philosophy. You live your life through this philosophy of being good and trying to do better, and like everything you do, you're doing it for you, but it makes you happy that you know you're helping somebody else.
Right.
Is that something through the guru you learned it through when you said it in the beginning?
Right. Yes, I do have my current guru that I listen to a lot is Sadhguru, but I do have a lot of other gurus that I listen to, and one of them is Dr. Wayne Dyer and some other ones that I cannot pronounce their names because most of them are Indian gurus. Right. And so Sadhguru made it easier for all of us to say Sadhguru.
Do you believe
but,
in the I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you believe in the law of attraction?
So just because I'm a student of Sadhguru, he's not he often would tell people stay away from beliefs. He says, hope I'm not misquoting him, but I'm paraphrasing. He says, stay away from beliefs, but have experience instead. Because a lot of people will say, I believe, but have they ever experienced it? So Sadhguru often would say, talk about your experience or express your experience and not belief. So laws of attraction, in a sense, in the word belief of what the West think about it, I believe or experience energy that I experience. Laws of attraction is actually pretty tricky because I actually had a guest on my show this week for season 3 that I was talking to her about it because she was saying manifestation and vision board and all this stuff. And I was telling her, I was just like, I have an issue with vision board, manifestation, or law of attraction because I'm a no BS person. If I want something, I just go get it, period. Like I don't doubt myself, think about it. I don't go like, I don't know, and think about possibilities of negativity. And that's one of the reasons I broke up with my partner of 16 years, because people have called me positive or pragmatic, and I'm a problem solver. And in my perception, at least, he was very pessimistic. And I do understand, like, it's good to think about possibilities of how things can fail or different possibilities. But me, I'm like, failing is not a possibility. I'm just gonna go, period. And of course you're gonna hit roadblocks, but who cares? So is life. And so I've been like that all my life. And people have called it, sometimes people call me too brisk or too hard-headed or too arrogant. I call that confidence, but to each their own. But
fuck them. Listen, I do fuck them because I deal with that on a normal day basis, right? They they get confused because they don't take the time out to get to know you as a person, right? They get confused in the fact that you're cocky, you know it all, but they don't see that there's probably a point in your life and where it was just you and nobody believed in you and everything you had to do was you and you had no support, nobody had your back and nobody wanted to be a part of that. And you, in some way or form, you had to will yourself to believe in yourself. To say, I'm gonna, like you just said, I'm gonna fucking do this. Failure is not an option. I don't even believe in failures, only in lessons, right?
Yep.
And when you've gone through so much shit in life and overcome it on your own, right? That when you say or see something, it doesn't phase you. They don't. They see his cockiness, but they don't see all the shit you had to overcome to look at that moment and just brush it off like nothing happened.
Yeah,
and that's sad. That is the equivalent definition of judging a book by its cover.
Right.
And to those people, I say good day and fuck you because you know.
You're right. I saw a quote that says a meme. I don't know if you're into memes. I'm into memes a lot.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
It says the men who have time to judge have no time for himself. And it's deep. It's like it's simple, but it's deep. And this is why, of course, as humans, we do judge, but to what extent? I feel like, to me, yeah, we do judge and we have discernment, but I'm not going to take it as far as condemnation. Like, I feel like you can judge, but if you have judgment and condemnation would be like, you judge about something. Let's say, example. So I started singing because I fucking want to. And how many people want to tell me my voice is terrible or this and that, da, 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 da. And then I don't respond within myself with energy. My response is, well, thank you for at least like hear me out, whatever. And sometimes I would respond would be like, oh, please subscribe and put on a like, something like that. Because I don't really give a fuck if you don't like my stuff or if you have judgments about it, because God gives me a song to sing and a gift, and I'm just gonna do it. And who says, okay, so my voice is not good based on whose opinion and based on which scale? There's 8 billion people in the world, and I think there's like probably 280 countries, if I'm not correct or not. And there's so many cultures on this planet. And who are you gonna level me to say my stuff is good or not? It's just like if it's good for you or if it's not good for you. And if it's not, then keep on walking. Why do you need to go on someone's DM to push someone down? Because as I post on my YouTube, everything that I do, and I'm grateful for all my guests who came on my show, of course, but mostly everything that I do, I work hard and I put my money in it, and I'm very happy. Like, no one donate nothing to me. Beside, the only thing people donate to me is being on a guest and watching my stuff. And I'm very grateful for those things.
They donate time.
Exactly. But I'm in a space of like, in my spirituality, that I'm not attached outcome. I'm just enjoying the process, because this is the time and the experience the universe or the greater power, God, or whatever you may call it, gave me. And that's the only entity that will validate me, not another human being that's equal as me. So that's the way I see it.
Boom, facts. There you go. Damn. You have this eyes. I can't remember. It's I saw it on your Spotify, eyes, right?
Real eyes.
Real
yes,
eyes.
Real eyes, real eyes, real eyes.
What made you write that song?
Damn, I got like chills you asking for it. Wow. Okay, so to tell you, I'll give you like a quick 30 seconds to 1 minute story. Okay, so I wrote that song because I feel like in my spirituality, I was like probably like 80%. Now I'm like, my battery is like 100%. I'm like on the roll. But I was 80%, and there is things I need to work on. Doesn't mean 100, I'm still don't have things to work on. But so everyone moved out of my apartment, almost everyone, because COVID happened. And then I had to fill the apartment again. And then so people came in and they filled the apartment. And then there was this guy I met. He came in to look at the place, and that was fine. And then I think the next day he says he wanted to rent the apartment. So that's fine. So when he moved in, and because of who I am, I'm very like welcoming, whatever. So we chatted, and at that moment, like it felt like, because I believe in energy, it felt like I met my other half.
Yeah.
Like someone else outside of me. And it was such a great experience. But with everything craziness that happened, it's just like and he and I, we talked about it, and it's not like gossiping or talking bad about anybody. Like he had a lot of mental history and also drug abuse and a lot of other stuff that he was battling. So therefore the relationship did not go further. And as I mentioned on my solo podcast, it was not even a sexual relationship at all. Although when we talk about relationship, or we think about relationship, we tend to think it's sexual. But I'm actually going to write a podcast about how your brain can have like kind of like sex conversations. Like the conversation we would have were like so deep and philosophical and spiritual, and like like it was so like blow your mind. So that's the kind of relationship we had. And for some reason, I think he was that kind of personality where like something is too good, and we do that too. When something is so good, we question and doubt ourselves. We fuck it up. Exactly. So that's where I think happened, because obviously I think like last month he called me and apologized, and he left that on the voicemail. But anyway, so I wrote realize, because exactly what the word says. And of course, those words are not mine, because I think Tupac or someone else wrote those sentences. But I tend to wake up around 2 or 3 a.m. with a lot of ideas. And then I used to go sleep. But then when 2020 happened, I'm just like, I think I record everything. And so that song came in my mind because I was realizing when we broke up, he was still living in the house. But then I was just like, wow, I saw all those red flags, but I ignored them because I was codependent, because I was a people pleaser, because I wanted to give him the world so I would not lose him. Because to this day, and it's true, like we can meet our other half, and I think our other half can be made multiple people as well. I don't know if you ever experienced that. You meet that one person either for a season or for whatever. It's like they, in a sense, complete you, not spiritually, but on a tangible level. And you're like, wow, it's kind of like someone's literally fucking your mind. Not like fuck up your mind, but like, yeah, like orgasmic. It's hard to say. So I don't remember exactly the lyrics on Realize. You guys can go watch the video or listen to the music. But it says like something like, all you got to do is see it and believe it. And damn, I wish I had the lyrics on my phone or anything. But basically, that's why I wrote Realize, because I was just like living in La La Land and dismissing all the red flags. So that's why the real eyes, which is your chakra eyes here, and then it will realize the lies that you tell yourself to eat comfort food, and the lies that you ignore because you want to keep things in your life, etc. And at the end of the story is, because I closed my eyes, I lost it all anyway, because I was not paying attention. and all this stuff. So basically, if you listen to the song, it tells you more. And so unfortunately, it's like, I don't know if you ever get that way, like you write something and then you put it out there and you just forget it yourself.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. All the time. Why do you think we do that to ourselves? That it's like we become almost obsessed, right? Like with a person or an object. Like we don't care. Like you said, we see the red flags and but we want it. And we know it's bad for us, but still we say fuck it, we want it.
So because I joined those alcohol anonymous groups, they put a lot of memes, and I'm probably gonna kill that other meme again, but it says something like, people are not addicted to the drugs and alcohol. They are addicted to how it makes them feel. So basically, people take drugs or alcohol or whatever they do to either enhance a feeling or kill down a feeling. And I feel that people like that person or shopping or things that you have are drugs.
Yeah.
And so like that person was a drug. I kid you not. He moved in August 1st. For 6 weeks. We spent 24 hours with each other. It's embarrassing to say. But it was beautiful. And again, as I tell people, I was just like, there was nothing sexual about it. That's what made it so much beautiful. And I was very grateful for
but
that
he couldn't, right? He couldn't, because like when you're sobering up, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, right? When you're sobering up, whether alcohol or drugs, like you can't be with a person like for a year at least.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like when you're in the alcohol anonymous or drug addiction, right? And you're going to treatment and recovery, you're not able to be with somebody until like for a year or something. Like that's one of the rules, right? Or steps.
Oh, you mean when you go to rehab?
No, when you come out and they give you the coin and you have to do the steps. Like I think, and like that's why I asked you, because I'm not sure if it's a real thing or as you saw in a movie. Like you're not able to have relationship, any type of relationship with somebody for a certain amount of time, because
I'm not sure what you're asking, but if I can connect it, is that they usually tell you if you met someone in your trauma season, or you were addicted to something, once you're getting clean, you need to cut all ties, because your mind have memory and energy. It will remind you to go back into drugs and alcohol. So like smell can do that, taste can do that, people can do that, and your surroundings. But not until if you're strong enough. If you're strong enough, you can do all these things and not relapse. But most people are not able. So most people, that's why they say, if you become clean, those friends you had, unless they're clean too, don't be their friends, because they're gonna bring you back to memory lane and you're gonna feel good. So it's not the drug you're addicted to, is their feeling. That's why I think Maya Angelou says people remember how you made them feel and not what you said or what you've done. Like we're so attached to feeling. And secondarily, to your question, like why we do that, is self-masochism. We love to self-sabotage. We love to be victims. I don't know where that's coming from psychologically, but I think the number one thing is the ego thing. We want to feel special. We want to feel someone heard us so we can tell a story. And so what I made sure to do is, in my podcast, I made sure the story that I told is just the facts. And then to make sure I'm saying I'm not talking shit about that person or I'm not gossiping. Because when I was talking about my 16-year relationship, I owned it, that shit. I said I was not a good boyfriend. And why I wasn't a good boyfriend, it's not excusing it, but just like telling the facts and whatever. Because we all have a story, but I didn't want my story to be based on ego of being like a victim of something that happened. But to answer a story, yeah, I think it's because it's self-masochism, like, or the self-sabotage. Like, why when you get a good job, you show up on time the first week and you start fucking up. You start like stealing pen, you start showing up late, you start chewing gum and talking smack. And then it's like humans, I don't know why we do that, but we do that shit. Or some girl told me she was dating this guy for a month. She was a fucking princess. And now he's calling her fat cow, you stupid bitch, and slapping her and do all this stuff. And she asked him, she was like, I was your princess, what happened? And then he couldn't answer, because once we will, like they say, eat shit to get the prize. We'll do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, once we get that prize, we don't value it. And I've noticed that within myself, and I do my best to appreciate everything that I receive or don't receive. Like, think about it. When you order something on Amazon, you're so excited for it.
Yes.
It comes to your door. You get it. It's still happy. But after a week, do you really care or think about it? It's another item in your house. You still appreciate it, but it's not the same excitement as you're waiting for it. For some reason, as humans, we stop having gratitude. We don't appreciate things that are in our lives anymore. Once we have it, or another person, once you gain that person, then we stop, we take it for granted. I think that's what happened in a relationship.
I think it's because there's so much traffic. There's so much shit. There's like, it's like Tinder, right? Like, I got you. I can get somebody else in like 5 minutes. You know, there's too much convenience. Everything, in food and shopping and music, podcasting, people. Too much convenience to make it more easier. And the more you make things easier, we start lacking the journey, right? The struggle, in which those struggles are essentially will help us build us as people, help build your character, your self-esteem, you know, excuse me, the way you carry yourself. And when we don't have that, we have no story. That's why a lot of people say from the 90s down, it was a great era. You know, from the 2000s up, it like, there's gonna come a point every 90 baby is not gonna exist. They're gonna be already become old or obsolete, and we're yeah. So it's like we're stuck, and now we're stuck because just time, right? We're like, yeah, you could, you know, I got somebody in the back. What do I need you?
Yeah, I've noticed that in life, and as I mentioned, I like to learn in my environment. Like, if I don't like something that I notice, I make sure I'm not what I dislike. So when I notice these things, I make sure that I change it within myself also. Is every second is an opportunity for gratitude. I saw a quote, again, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says something like, gratitude is not about being grateful for the things that you got. It's about being grateful for everything that seemingly is wrong, or despite that you didn't get it. Because you never know down the line, the stuff that you didn't get, or the stuff that happened to you that you don't like so much, what it would do down along the line. And perfect example, my situationship. If I was wallowing in like shame, guilt, and fear and judgment, and which I did actually, because I got depressed. And then when I snapped out of that, I was like, you know what? I need to take this as an opportunity. I need to take this as gold. I need to take this as a self-enhancement or growth. Another kind of short story is, I love history, by the way. Who was it? the guy who made the light bulb, they were saying, how do you make a light bulb? And then he said something like, I learned 100 ways of how not to make a light bulb. So basically, if he quit after 3 times, like most people like to just quit because it didn't work, then of course, maybe we would have a light bulb because someone else probably would try. But let's say if no one else did, we would have candles still. Even the Wright brothers who basically were successful at the first airplane. You know how many years, like even the Egyptians and the Romans and the Greeks were Leonardo da Vinci or whatever their name is, have sketches of like flying things. Like forever, men wanted to fly. And probably a lot of them have tried, but because they weren't knowledgeable in a sense, so they weren't successful. But the Wright brothers, despite that, they weren't even millionaires. Like they did this for humanity, and they were just like regular people.
They were committed.
Exactly.
And they were committed, and they would practice their craft day in, day out. And that's what we lack of today. Everybody wants the $100,000 fucking car, right?
Right.
We lack the understanding of committing to something, saying that this is where I'm going to take this, and then this is where I'm going to go with it. But we like I said, we live in an era that everything's traffic. It's easy to give up because everybody's doing all the same things.
Yeah, instant gratification.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I make sure I'm grateful all the time, and I don't take things for granted. And when it comes to other people get weirded about it, because I would tell people I'm grateful toward them about the smallest thing, and they go like, "Oh, you're a weird guy. Like, why you express so much?" But to me, it's like if you cross down the street to me, you smile or even greet me, you did the world to me. Why? Because you didn't have to. You could have been a scumbag who punched me in the face, because people do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the smallest sense of kindness. We take it for granted. Like, take it for granted someone like maybe open a door for you or whatever it is. And so I make sure I practice that, again, not for the world at all, but for me, because just like, how you call it? Like that quote, I'm not religious anymore, but some people who are religious or read the Bible might resonate with it. That says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, or something like that. But a lot of people, my take is, are unable to love their neighbor because they didn't love themselves first. Because how can you love someone if you don't know how to love yourself? Because the only thing you can do in this whole world, actually, like, no one else exists but you. People only exist because of your perception. Like sometimes when strangers, we hang out and they're like, "Oh, thank you for hanging out with me," or "This was great," whatever. And I tell them, I'm your figment of your imagination. Who knows if I'm here or not?
Yeah.
We don't know that. Because you talk to me for 45 minutes, you feel great, and then I'm gone in your life and you probably never see me again. Or if you saw me, you probably don't even remember. Like, how is it? Could be you imagining that, because the thing about the brain is, psychologically or even scientifically, you could even research that the brain makes things real. That's why a lie is the truth for whoever is looking at it. Example with the red flags. Many red flags, even in your life or whoever's watching this, you see the red flags as like the truth, until you face the truth, the reality, and then you go like, "Oh fuck, I was lying to myself." But in the moment, it was the truth. So our minds make up a lot of stuff. Like, this is why it is important to live in the present, in the moment. And this is how I work, not to have ego of like, if someone like call me names, try to bully me, or say shit about me, I tell them, "Thank you so much for investing your time to tell me how you feel." And the great thing is that that's a psychological thing too. in a sense, I'm fucking with them because they don't know how to respond to that. How can you respond to that? Right? The response to one is like, what you say about me? That's what they expect. That's what's normal. But when I tell them thank you and be like, tell me more. I'm interested. Wow, I'm very curious. And go like, what the fuck? You weird. And they just walk away. And I'm like, see, no more argument.
That's awesome. That's hey, that's a good way of being. You know, you're not stressing yourself. You're not taking yourself so serious. You're just being you, and enjoying life as you should.
Yeah, 100%.
As you should. As you should. Not everything is. You know, that's one thing I appreciate about this pandemic thing. Like, not taking myself too serious, not taking too much overwhelmingness that it might affect my health or my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing it showed is that it doesn't matter how much money you got. If you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
Yep.
Right? Like, but one thing I did learn, just because you don't take yourself serious, uh, that doesn't mean people shouldn't take you serious. Because people can be very disrespectful.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to keep like balancing that and live your life.
Yeah, you gotta keep people in check, but without the attitude. And it's a balance and it's a skill to learn that. And that's I've learned. There's a book I read called Codependent No More. It talks about how to have boundaries without being that like kind of person, because that's not needed. You can be chill and have boundaries, and if someone press on it, you can say, I understand how you're feeling right now and you want to do this, but that's not what I want to do. And there's another word that says, if you feel like someone's pressuring you, just tell them this one word: I feel uncomfortable right now. And keep saying that. I feel uncomfortable. Because unless someone is like the world top 10 asshole, most people will respond to like, oh, I'm so sorry, I make you feel uncomfortable. Like, at least say it like second time if they don't hear it the first time.
Yeah, they feel they quickly become like frightful.
Right.
They get nervous, like, oh shit.
And that ends all arguments because you like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, dude, like, stop it. And with the thing with pandemic about 2020 with not taking things seriously, like there's so many levels on that. But the number one level that I love so much is about employment, because for like almost 20 years now that I've been entrepreneur, and I do a lot of freelancing. I prefer having temp jobs instead because I like the freedom of just chilling. And so, of course, I've noticed, because I didn't work full time, not even, I wouldn't call it full time or no time, for almost 2 years, right? And I was like, wow, I made this. I eat well. I have a roof over my head. I'm not stressed about money. Like, what the fuck? But in 2019, I would stress my ass off about like calling off for if I'm sick, or if I didn't want to go to work, or if I didn't want to do this job, or I would take, because like in New York City, of course I should ask for more, but I don't work for under $20. But then I'll be like, I'll make excuses and be like, okay, maybe I should do this. I'm like, now, and it's funny, as we're opening up again, I tell employers, you need to pay me this much for this much time and travel, and this is what I want. I kid you not. All say yes.
Yeah, it's experience. You know your worth. Yeah, it's experience. You know your worth. You know, like you do something for a majority amount of time, right? You do it every fucking day. You're gonna know your worth. At some point, you're gonna get tired of, you're gonna start speaking up for yourself. Art of negotiation. I've done it several times. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't got a fucking master's degree or an associate's degree. So boom.
Yeah. So basically, it's the art of like, I don't give a shit what you think about me. Like, okay, you don't want to hire me? Fine. It's New York City. Oh, you don't want to hire me? I was doing things online that paid my rent for 2 years. I'm not wealthy from it, but you know what? I eat well, and I have a roof over my head. Fine. So now I make sure like it's gonna be my terms. Of course, like there's gonna be some middle ground, of course. But I'm so grateful that I don't have that fear anymore of like, oh, how about if I say this, they probably won't hire me. If I have this demand, they probably won't. Da, da, da. And I think there's two things at play here: is the lack of workers. Also, probably also me that's saying, you know what, I don't give a fuck anymore. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah.
That should be a t-shirt. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah. Yes. But it has to be like that. It has to be like that. How long, how long, how much shit do you had to go through to get to this point?
Yeah.
Right? That they're obligating you to get a vaccine to work. And you get it, and they still can fucking throw you out like nothing. They can still tell you to get the fuck out and fire you.
It's fucked up. Actually, a lady told me she got a booster. She fucking got a master's and still don't have a job. And in my head, I say, I told you so. I didn't tell her that, of course. I don't want to be an asshole. I just wasn't pathetic and be like, keep trying, da, 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 keep doing you. I'm sorry that happened. But I fucking hold on. And New York City, as of March 7, they took that out. And I'm like, I'm fucking glad that I survived. And I still have savings. Boom. And I'm like, yes. Boom. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. Like whatever did happen, I'm so grateful. And I'm also grateful with in other word is integrity. If you do not have integrity for yourself, then how can you have integrity how can you request integrity from others? How can you tell others to tell you the truth or to be truthful and honest toward you or to do you right when you don't even have integrity for yourself? If I'm going to sell my body for a fucking vaccine that I don't want to make $1, guess what? I wasn't wealthy in 2018 or 19. You think I'm going to be wealthy now for a vaccine? No, son, I'll wait. And I did. I'm grateful for that.
No, that's facts. That's facts. Some people that will tell you, hey, they were giving jobs out. I needed a job. You know, all the power to them. It's not easy, but you got to stand up for yourself.
Right.
And then they want to give you a mediocre of $100 to get a vaccine.
Bribing.
That don't even cover your copay for the go to the hospital if you don't have insurance.
Yeah. Even my landlord kept telling me, go get it. Like at least you get $300. Like first one, second one, and booster. And I was just like, I'd rather have a fucking OnlyFans or do some shit down the street. Like, what the hell? That's crazy. But another thing too, as you mentioned earlier, with when this generation, I feel that the American dream had died for a lot of people. For me, it hasn't. I'm holding it to my nail, like they say. But like for a lot of people, the American dream have died. People have settled to work for somebody. I'm grateful that I do work for somebody.
It's not. It's a challenging topic, right? Because you can't survive. You can't if you haven't built your empire, your business, right? You can't survive just on dreams alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for if you want to build your business, how are you going to get the money for it?
Right.
I left my job, a well-paying job, and started my own shit, you know, and I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it. Now, yeah, I'm surviving. But wouldn't it be smarter if I was still working a 9 to 5 and come out of my house, come out of work and sacrifice that time that's worth it and continue?
Right.
Because if you're trying to build your business and you ain't got no fucking money, if you ain't got no fucking money,
mm-hmm.
I remember I started my brand, Dream Inspire Obtain. I said, hey, let me make apparel. Let me make some apparel, some shirts, but not. But who the fuck knows them? How am I gonna get out there? Who's gonna come buy my shit if nobody knows my shit? Oh, I gotta promote him. We put advertisement. Let me promote. Like where I'm gonna get where am I gonna get the money for the advertisement if nobody's buying my shit? You know, it's what are you willing to sacrifice? Right. If you work 9 to 5, and when you come out, you work from 6 to 12 o'clock at night trying to create your business up, right?
Yes.
So that one day, I leave this job, I already got a couple of things on the contract in my own business. It's a small sacrifice. Yeah, you're not gonna sleep. Some days you're not gonna eat. Some days you're probably gonna have to, get out of your business and go straight into your job. But it's if you started young, it's better. The goal is not to get rich and buy a fucking Bugatti or shit like that. Like what they show you on TV, the goal is to grow old and be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yes.
So that when you cannot do it any longer, you don't have to worry about this shit.
Right.
They don't, and that's what they don't get. You want to live fast and die young for what? You want to our body. We're not here forever, which is a good thing because we're not meant to live forever, right? And as you get older, you're not going to be able to do the same hustle as you did in your 20s and your 30s. And everybody wants to say, fuck it, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur, but lack the understanding of what it takes.
Right.
An entrepreneur, it's you're a hustler trying to make 5 things happen. Stick with one. Pick and choose what's going to be more effective, so that when that blows up and you're making enough income, it's going to help you build the other things you want to do. Take it one at a time. But if you go and leave your fucking job like I did, hey man, the struggle is real. Yeah. The struggle is real, right? And not see the consequence, not care about I had a mortgage or car notes, right? Or I had a family, I have an autistic son, right? His services straight out of pocket until I was able to get help recently, right? Like, and doing my business. You got to play it smart,
right?
If not, because you're gonna be moving your business, but you're still gonna feel like you're stuck in a rat race.
Right. Yeah. As of 2020, I quit the rat race.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. Because like number one thing that I value in this life is my peace of mind. If something don't bring me peace, because I like to be very peaceful and I like to give peace to other people. And if I don't, like if someone want to come talk to me, they can tell their bit. And then I would tell them like, you want to solve this or you just want to, of course not like that, but you want to like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to have a peace resolution or not? Yeah. So when it comes to work, even when I did catering, everyone's going crazy and I'm very peaceful and people do watch you. And at the end of the night, they're like, how are you able to just like not chatting away, not fighting with your coworkers and doing your job alone and as if no one exists and you still do your work. And then people who appreciate that, they see it, but the people who don't, they see it as a judgment thing. They're like, oh, you don't talk to your coworkers and you're not a team and busting. And I'm like, I don't need to do all of that to do my job.
You listen, if anything, and this is to all the listeners and viewers, if you're going to protect anything, protect your time. Protect your time. Don't be, me. Yeah, it was difficult for me. I left my job because my job wasn't giving me peace of mind. Like you said, your peace of mind is the more important thing, right? But you need to protect your time. A job is just a job. Clock in, do what you gotta do, clock out, boom, keep it moving.
And they'll let you go when 2020 happens.
Yeah, they're gonna let you go no matter what. Do your job, learn something, so you can get experience because you never know it might help for you, right?
Right.
And do the fuck you gotta do and keep it moving. But people want to be and fraternize and be friends. And if you get fired, they ain't calling you. They ain't looking for you.
Yep.
They ain't see how you doing. They see how they can help.
Yeah.
You know many times I've encountered people in jobs and I got fired. They never called me. And they see if it's okay.
That's why you gotta put yourself first.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
And that's not selfish.
Right.
And
there's a book
selfish.
called The Virtue of Selfishness by Ayn Rand. If you like reading philosophy, it's a great book because she mentioned how the word selfish became a dirty word, but it's not. Any being in this earth is selfish. Mm-hmm. And selfish is a good thing. But that's another topic or story. It's called The Virtue of Selfishness by Ayn Rand.
It's been great talking to you, brother. I enjoyed every bit of it. I learned so much. Yeah, man. Thank you for joining me. It's been an honor. Before we go, tell the people where they can find you at.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on your platform, definitely. So my name is Zen Tenn. You can find me Zen Tenn 21 on Twitter, Instagram, and Zen Tenn on Facebook. And on YouTube is Zen Tenn, just Zen Tenn. But if you also search Zen Tenn Speaks, that's my podcast. And my music is just Zen Tenn on YouTube. And also I'm on Spotify, and most platforms is just Zen Tenn or Zen Tenn 21 or Zen Tenn Speaks. So it's pretty easy. And you can shoot me an email is zentenn21@gmail.com. Yeah.
Boom. Hey, go check him out. Go support him. Go check out his podcast. He has incredible content. You never know. You might hear one of these amazing stories that can help you in whatever struggle you're going through. So go check them out, go support, and have a good night, guys. I'm out.